Hello, everybody. We're going live for Tuesday Talks, and today we have an amazing soul called Stephanie Zito. I hope I pronounced the name correctly. So, Stephanie is a coach channeling your messages and guidance for your soul, purpose, plus passion to turn them into profits, right? So, following your intuition and all things intuition. So, let's get Stephanie on board here. Hi, Stephanie. How are you doing?
Hi, I'm doing fantastic. How are you?
I am great. Thank you very much for taking the time out to come on Tuesday Talks.
Oh, it's my
Thank you very
pleasure.
much. I've done a short introduction for you already, and I can see your fans are joining in. Um,
Yeah.
so I've done a short introduction for you already, but in true Tuesday Talk styles, you're the best person to let us know, what you do, why do you do it as well? So just share your
Yeah.
story.
So I help people, mainly women, to find freedom in living their soul's purpose. So releasing the negative self-talk, releasing the stuff from when they were children and even past lives so they can really fully embrace and integrate who they are now, let go of the fears and live their life fully.
Oh, wow. And so the biggest question would be, so why are you doing this?
It really channels through me. I don't feel like it's why am I doing this? It was even more like why was this given to me? Because this has really just been my soul's imprint since I was really young. I've always been really interested in what are you doing? How are you thriving? It's just been a part of my being. And when I finally embraced my fear and began coaching in 2014, I just really haven't looked back. I really feel like I have just landed in my soul's purpose. And I do it because I truly believe that, in finding peace and finding peace even around the world, the more we are embracing ourselves and really loving ourselves, when we actually feel that self-love, then things kind of calm down. We have less conflict within, and so we have less conflict without. We have more peace within, we have more peace without. So it's so funny because years ago I got my master's degree in conflict resolution, but I really feel like it all kind of lands to this, like finding that space of self-love, which I really feel is kind of our journey as humans on this planet is literally just understanding that that's available for us. Like that's kind of our birthright. Right, Heather? I'm so glad you're here.
I love this, and thank you for sharing this. And listening to you, and I can also see how the two dots connect. We just don't pay attention to what's usually is happening around us. Instead of thinking why is this happening to us, it's usually happening around us, and we are reacting to it from my point of view, and how
Hmm.
I see something. We are reacting to things which are happening around us, and then sometimes we always look inwards when something wrong is happening, right? So we are always like, oh, why is this happening to us? Because it's just not gone your way. But as you said, you've done so many things. It all led to this because this is where it was meant to come at the end. 2014, you took the jump and became a coach and start letting everybody know that this is the way to follow. So that's you followed your intuition.
Oh yeah. And I also love the question, I love kind of changing some of these questions even from why is this happening to me? Because that can really be just, the victim mentality where I don't have control, where there's so many things that we don't have control over versus why is this happening for me? I look at some things that didn't happen for me that were not meant for me, even relationships like uh, I'm not in now. And so, why is this happening for me? Even things that were really formative, that were core wounds when I was younger. How can I turn that into, like, why did that happen for me? How is that bringing me anything that happens that feels like a negative? How does that draw me back to self love? Because when I'm in a situation, for me, especially working with women, we can have what's called like a sister wound, where we have trouble trusting other women or being in friendships, or there's like talking behind the back or things like that. But what we can really look at is how can that draw me back to loving me. Like if I am not receiving it from those people, I get to love myself by choosing to not be with those people, by choosing to find the people who are going to love me for exactly who I am, but mostly loving myself. Like if I need so desperately for those people to love me, what I'm actually needing is for me to love me, for me to love every corner of myself. Like that is what we always get to have. You know, I'm so grateful I've got my husband, but I can't expect him or be dependent on him constantly showing me that he loves me. That's not fair to him. You know, I mean, I get to be with someone who shows me that and is that. And if I'm desperately seeking that outside of myself, then I'm missing the whole point. That's like having this void that will never get filled, because the real place we find that is when we literally get that study, which is for every single human being, is to find that love within.
I love this actually. And this is the first time I'm also hearing about, uh, in terms of that self-love that you are looking for. Because a lot of time you hear over and over again, you are looking for that self-love, but you are looking for approval from the outside for it, right? So as you mentioned,
Hmm.
you have a husband, but you're looking for that love for him to show every time, even though he might have his ways of showing how he loves you and how he does things. But then that might be a different way. You're not, no, I need this or more, and so forth. And then that might come across as, oh, is that selfish, or is this wrong, or is it right? Right. So this is where the blurs are and confusions also. So all that drowns to also to do with when you're younger. Is it childhood traumas
You
there
know,
attached to it?
here's what okay. So I feel like as a human being so like I mentioned, I am an intuitive, I'm a soul purpose coach. And so I believe we have this soul, and this soul is infinite, and this soul understands infinite love, what that actually means. And when we come to this particular planet, we come to Earth is messed up, or there's issues with Earth. Earth is not perfect. Earth has polarity. When we come to this, we sort of choose this experience. We're choosing the whole rainbow of all that it is. And so most of us, I can't say for every single person, but most of us are going to have some sort of trauma of some sort. And that can look, a variety of ways. It can be something that's very physical, that's very abusive in a sense. And it can also be as simple as I got locked in a bathroom at Target and I couldn't get out and I couldn't get to my mom. And it was traumatizing at the age of 5 because I was separated and I felt out of control. I didn't have control. Even something that might seem as like benign as getting lost underneath a clothing rack in a store can be really traumatizing for a person. So I bring a lot of empathy to all of us as humans because those things, they just happen. And I think when we recognize that, we kind of, you know, we don't really completely take off the hook if someone had really bad behavior towards us. Like, of course, we don't have to forgive that behavior, but maybe we can bring some empathy to the situation or empathy to ourselves. And we kind of learn as we grow up, like we get to deal with that. We get to recognize it. And the more we see it, instead of like trying to bury it, like if I saw a conflict as a child and as an adult, I feel that whenever I see conflict or whenever my spouse wants to come to me with an issue to talk about, and I'm going to have my fight or flight system sort of lock into gear, and I feel uncomfortable with that, it feels unsafe to me, then my choice is for me to really sort of integrate and sort of up level or awaken as a human. I'm going to deal with that. I'm going to find, and there's so many ways. The beauty is we have so many ways to actually deal with that. We don't have to suffer. The suffering comes when we think we need to hide this stuff or stuff it down because it scares us to deal with it. And the thing is, when we actually deal with it, then we get to find the freedom of getting really aligned with our highest self. Like that stuff is like these layers of the onion, right? And when we're acting from that, then we're acting from a space that is fear, that is loss, that is discomfort. But when we get to kind of, peel that away and heal that, we get to do that. Then we get to act from that place that is aligned with our highest self. And it brings us much more freedom to the relationships we really want to be in the way we want to be, the relationships we want to be in the way we want to be in them too, if that makes sense.
It 100%, it does, and it's so wonderfully said there. I've lots of things that I'm listening to today. I've not known before, and I'm sure there's a lot of people who are similar to me who've not heard it that way. And it's just putting things in perspective of what I'm thinking of, certain things here. But so also you're helping. You've chose a particular niche to just help women only. Is that a reason,
It doesn't,
or was
it
that?
honestly, and there are some men I do work with. It just so happens to be those who gravitate towards me tend to be women. It's just how it's worked out. I guess I'm not really quite sure. I'm not against working with men. It's just sort of how it's worked out. And I think especially, these are, I'd say especially women who they resonate with sort of feeling unfree in some way. And whether it's with something that's been sticking with them since childhood or in a decision they want to make that feels challenging. And what we really do is we work with intuition. And I work with an in-person retreat, and I work with men and women together. I run workshops, and really what we're talking about is thriving. And these might be people that, are really like, top end CEOs. It doesn't really matter like what part of that journey you're in. We always can have these things that have stuck with us from when we were young, and we get to thrive when we get to really, tap into our inner sense of knowing, tap into our intuition, and sort of act from that space.
I love that actually, and that's great. Thank you for sharing this. So, if you could take us through a typical journey, if somebody reaches out to you for that kind of coaching or session, what does that look like? What's the end result that a typical person is looking to when they reach out to you?
Yeah, well, the first thing I really, if I'm doing a group session, what I'm looking for is like if you were to kind of strip away all the stories about what you can't do, what do you really want? Like, what do you really want? And then we're going to kind of identify what that feels like, that baseline feel of this is my gut saying yes. We're going to identify that. This is my gut saying no to this, regardless of if this is what society wants or what my people want. Oh, Heather, Heather's worked with me, so I really appreciate that. And honestly, I feel like it's true. Like we all are walking miracles. We're literally walking miracles, and we get to allow the miraculous to happen. The shifts that can happen, people say we do more in an hour session than they've done in years of therapy. And to me, the reason is because when I do a one-on-one session, we do an energy scan, and this can happen pretty quickly. We just kind of like bang out with the highest self, like, well, what's going on? What's getting stuck? At what age did that happen? Did it happen in a past life? And when we know that, we can clear it. And what I find happening is people will do like a 180. Like they'll go from maybe they hate their job, which is fine. You get to hate your job, but I don't have any attachment to if you stay in that job or you leave. My attachment is to you feeling that freedom, like finding that which you do desire for yourself. And so they'll go from hating their job to actually finding like peace within their own life. And I feel like when that happens, then we sort of like, I think of like the nerves as like, it's like having like frayed edges. When we get to smooth those frayed edges of the nervous system, then we get to sort of come into a place where we can manifest what we do want. Like if I'm sitting and I'm waking up and I'm hating my job, I'm going to be in energy and a frequency of like, I hate this, I hate this, I hate this, right? So I'm just going to keep living in that energy, living in that frequency. When I can shift into a place of moving towards what I do desire, what happens is like a client recently, she just landed her dream job, and I feel like she opened the space for that to happen and did some healing along the way. which also healed how she had felt about her own mothering, how she felt as a mother. And these things can be intertwined, right? It's not just like in these boxes. Something that's related to how I feel in my job can be completely related to how I felt as a mother, or this belief that I've carried about myself, maybe since childhood or birth. So I hope
Wow.
that answers your question. I kind of went on a tangent
It
there.
no, it does actually, and it expands quite a lot as well. And you touched upon a question I had already, because also in your bio it says, you turn the sole purpose and passion into profits, right? And you
Hmm.
touched upon that already, that one of your clients was able to land their ideal client there. So, and this is where I wanted to also ask, um, are most of your clients who you're working with are other coaches or from all walks of life?
So we've kind of have like two tracks here. One is the person who I call the visionary, and that person is someone who desires to start their own business in some way. They're the CEO of their own business. Maybe they're looking to transition from their day job into being an entrepreneur, typically like in a soul-based business. So they're just making that transition. And then the other person I kind of call like the manifester. They're like stuck in some area of their life. It might be with relationship, it might be with just not sleeping well at night. They're out of sync, and they're not necessarily looking to shift into an entrepreneurial business, but they may be unhappy with their job. And so they're going to manifest, and working together. I've had clients manifest multiple times their dream job, their like beautiful ideal relationship, even getting pregnant, wanting to have a baby, and creating the scenario where that could happen for them. So, I mean, it's not all on me. There's other people involved with that, but it's really just such a joy to see that happen for people.
And I love that. It's so you've got all walks of life. People from all walks of life are here, looking for different results. So they have different goals, and you are able to help them with that as well. So just getting that aligned with the soul and their passion,
Hmm.
and whatever they're trying to follow. I know somebody, was it Heather, said the result is a miracle, and I can 100% believe by just listening to you, guaranteed the passion you have, by just telling me about it. I can see if I was to now connect and do the sessions, it'd be miracle at the end as well, right? So there'd be a 100% result for whatever the goal would be. So in your journey, um, how how was the where was the pivotal moment for yourself to realize that this is something that you now definitely wanted to do, since you started that in 2014, did you say?
Yeah, it's interesting because I have a friend. So years ago, a long time ago, I was in the Peace Corps, and I have this friend who she has now passed. She was older when she was in the Peace Corps with me. She's an intuitive, and she told me, she said, one day you're going to work with intuition. And I just completely laughed. I was like, okay, that sounds great, whatever. And I'd always kind of felt intuitive, but when I started coaching, sometimes I feel like we make these big moves when there's a big reason. Like when things are comfortable, we don't always act. And sometimes when you get uncomfortable, that's when people come to me because something's uncomfortable. You're not happy in your relationship. You're not happy in your job. You're feeling out of alignment. And that gets to be a pivotal moment. Like it doesn't have to go like that. We can make life a lot easier when we don't let it get to that point. But for me, at the time, my husband had lost his job, and I knew I was like, I'm either going to go to get a full-time job. I had a little kid at home, one on the way, or this is now or never. What am I holding back from? I just was afraid. I had my own fears. I had my own things to grow through. And that's when things really started to synchronistically come into place. A coach who was amazing to work with came into my field. I said yes, and I invested in myself, knowing that I would make that money back plus. Like that was my whole goal. How could I not? And that's exactly what happened. And along the way, this intuitive training came into my radar to do this energy scan, and it was perfectly aligned. I said yes to it, and I just knew that I wanted to get faster to the roots of what was going on for someone. Why were they blocked? Why was this hard for them? Because I feel like you can have all the strategy in the world, but if you've got something blocking you, let's say you want success, but you're afraid if you actually have that success, it means that you're going to be too busy. You're going to be overly stressed. You're not going to have time for your family. Then you're probably going to sabotage yourself towards actually getting that success. So when we can identify that, that to me is the turning point, so that we can then allow that success to flow. You can think of it as like a faucet or a clogged drain. If that clog is there, you're just never going to have that flow. So, for me, it was allowing those synchronicities to come in. It was allowing was already there, the intuition piece to come in. Having that training really helped me kind of give me a framework how to use it. And then the intuition stuff really just started blossoming. I think especially when COVID hit and we were all kind of going kind of introspectively, I started teaching meditation, and being able to meditate also is a great way to really hone in on the truth, hone in on the intuitive piece too.
I love this, and thank you for sharing things. The last thing that I actually, about the meditation, I will agree 100% in terms of, I mean, meditation, I always put down as, it's personal to everybody. So everybody does a different way. I come from a corporate background, so for if I start talking meditation amongst my friends, they'd be like, "Oh, what you doing? Fluffy stuff, things like that, right?" But so the meditation for me, very earlier on. I was doing this from my teen years. It would be me just sitting in the dark room, so it has to be dark, so it's lights out and everything, and just quiet. And I'll just sit down, close my eyes and sit down or lay down, whatever is comfortable. So I'm not saying this is the position you have to take, and because a lot of people get hung on, oh, I need to do it this way, otherwise it won't work. You just need your body to kickstart the motion for it to understand. I'm not saying that I went into meditation straight away. I didn't even know I was doing meditation. That was me just switching my brain off from all the commotion that I had all day. So that's the
Hmm.
way, that's the only way I could do it. I was just lights out, a room by myself, and sit down and breathe,
Yeah, that's
and that was it.
beautiful. Yeah, and I
And
really feel, there's people have all these ideas about, again, like how you have to meditate or that it's super woo-woo. I feel like that's changing a lot. A lot of corporations are bringing meditation into the room, into the conversation. But when I teach it, because I teach it at this retreat too, I really feel like it's just becoming mindful. This is exactly what we're talking about, like observing the mind. Because if I can observe my mind and I've got this ruminating thought that wants to keep repeating itself, I can separate from it. Or if I observe myself and I see, oh, you're really getting angry in this situation, or you're sort of, why is this constantly, why, if you have a problem you're looking to solve and it's not getting solved, you get to observe it from outside. And I feel like that's when we can kind of allow these downloads to come in. So even if you can sit for a minute or two, I teach meditation on an app called Insight Timer. And they actually have a timer, and I'll put that timer on for if I've got 5 minutes in my car before I go in to teach a workshop. I'll go and put my ohms on or my water in the background and take my 5 minutes, and it helps me sort of become mindful of how I want to be in that workshop, how I want to put my energy into that. Like I get to choose rather than just like letting life just take me here, take me there, and I'm running around. I get to become mindful. I get to actually choose how I want to be. I get to design my day. So even taking that 1 minute just to have an affirmation or just a couple words of like, well, what's my intention for this? It can completely shift the energy around what you're moving into.
that is wonderful. So this just a question comes to me, which I do end up asking most of the guests here. So is there now, since you started your pivotal moment journey, is there a certain routine or ritual that, as most people like to call it as well, that you now follow or still follow, or it has evolved since then? So if you'd like to share that.
Yeah, so I actually have this sort of signature process I call vision casting, and what I love about it is that it's so simple and yet it's so effective. And what it looks like is when I wake up, I look at my phone. I like to, so I'm going to admit it. I'll do a scroll because it's fine, and a lot of us do. I'm not going to say all of us, but then I'll get my coffee, and then part of my process is I just take a moment and I look at the tasks I have ahead and I vision cast them. I design my day for them. So I had to take my cat to the vet. I had a client call, and here we are. And then I've got another talk I'm doing after this. So that's some of the things I have going on today. I could be stressed out and running around and trying to figure out IG and this and that, but that could be one way I do my day. I don't love having my cat has echocardiogram, so I could be worried about that. I could be distracted by that. And I can design my day to look at, I'm super mindful and excited to discuss my client's astrological chart with her and help her uncover some aha moments to help her on her journey. I'm super excited to have a really open conversation. I'm so curious about what Vishen and I are going to talk about, which I was. I'm literally like, I have no idea where this is going to go, and I love it. I could be worried about that if I'm kind of like, I need control, right? I've got my talk coming up. I'm so thrilled to bring this talk around conscious parenting to my group and bring to light new ways to parent. Like, how exciting. So, I get to, like, I envision my cat just really getting the best quality care he can at this amazing vet. So, I nourish my body with water today. So I'm not just drinking coffee throughout the day. So it's kind of an amazing way to bring to our day, manifest daily that which we do desire, right?
100%. And I love this, because what I'm hearing is you're living the whole day with intent of how it should be. Whether it turns out to be that way or not, that's a different story. But this is what
Hmm.
you have designed the day to look like, right? And
Yeah.
I'm a firm believer of living life by design. So
Hmm.
this is something I work a lot with, is having a blueprint of your life. Anything you do in life, anything you do is 90% planned anyway. Whether now that plan works or not, that's something you find out once you go into it and start doing it. But it should. If you had a good plan, you know about it. You know the ins and outs. You looked at the pros and cons. You're drinking your water. You're envisioning how the things will go. And I love that you also mentioned in the envisioning side of things is how I personally do it myself as well. Throughout the day, when I do a lot of driving, so I have to meet clients by driving to them. And most of the time, I just enjoy the drive side of it because I'm not stressed out when I'm going to get there, how I'm going to get there. Obviously, SatNav is taking me, but throughout the journey, I've already envisioned that I'm just going to enjoy the scenery because I've looked at the Google Maps, how the journey is going to be and what areas I'm
Hmm.
going to pass. And I want to look all these things whilst I reach my destination. So I
Hmm.
know I will reach that destination, but I want to enjoy that journey. Right? If there's traffic, I'm not going to get stressed about the traffic
Hmm.
because I'm looking at other bits or listening to my music. I have that vision already that that's how it's gonna play out. And
Hmm.
that's living by intent in terms
Hmm.
of it's very small things, but that's what matters for you to have a greater day at the end of the day instead of a stressful day, as in nothing works out.
Hmm.
This didn't go my way. Everything would have gone your way if we were mindful and intently looking for solutions. That's what I say. What do you think? Is that correct assessment of what I've done?
Absolutely. Yeah, I feel like driving is a great example because, you're in a situation where, I mean, some things are out of your control. So, yeah, we always release, the outcome. But, you can design how you feel along the way. So when things kind of come your way that maybe you didn't expect, like on my way to the vet, I was late because there was like a big crash on this highway. So I can't control. I'm stuck in this traffic. And of course, like I'm super mindful of, hoping those people are perfectly fine. It looked like they were. But also, I was able just to, I mean, I have a great podcast I love listening to. It makes me laugh out loud. So I get to be in that zone with my lovely cat driving and just, rather than cursing the traffic and all the cars, just allowing myself to enjoy that journey. And it's one thing that so you said it was really interesting to me. It's like 90% of what we do is planned out. I kind of think about that because I feel like it's kind of both. Like if we're allowing ourselves to be guided, if we truly believe we are the soul in this human body and there is this kind of greater plan perhaps, then I feel like it's a little bit of both because while I saw myself coaching, I didn't really see the degree to which it would be so intuitively aligned. I never saw, the gifts of like being a psychic, a medium, like all those things, energy worker. Like I never saw those being the tools necessarily. I could see how I would have wanted to manifest this job I have at this retreat, but I couldn't. If I had tried to pre-plan it so much, like so minutely, I would have missed it. Like this is where I feel like this openness, there's like these two ways of having attention. There's our convergent focus and our divergent focus. And our convergent focus is when we really are like working specifically on a project, like you're executing a launch or you're working specifically like on your book, right? Convergent focus. We can also do it when we worry. I convergently focus on this worry or what I don't have in my control. When we have divergent focus, we're kind of looking expansively. We're looking at like the bigger picture. We're open to receive. And when we have that divergent focus, we're able to allow synchronicities to come in. We're able to see, hear these brain pops. In the world of intuition, we talk about our clear senses. We're open to hearing like a song lyric and receiving the message from that's probably meant to guide us. Like there may be things that weren't really on our radar in that convergent focus that are exactly where we're meant to be, including a new job opportunity, right? Like as I talk about with manifesting, some of these things like they kind of catch us off guard, but when we're paying attention, we can say yes to them.
And I 100% agree, and I love this. In terms of how I started this Tuesday Talks, give or take 2 years now, and it's never planned for this, never did anything, but it is how everything got synchronized in towards this. Because in my corporate role, I have to meet clients, I have to forecast profits and loss, and I also have to forecast and predict how this can be achieved with the teams they have, and then coach that team to achieve that goal, support the client with his team or their teams to achieve that, so that they still have my support, and which means a lot of and that's where the planning comes in. So yeah, that's niching down and having that launch event, sort of say, so quarterly forecast there, and you need to achieve that. But the expansive overall was always, I need to coach his team or their team to achieve the XYZ goal, and this is where I would say I started enjoying that part of it, to see success happen at the end. Oh, this is something I
Mm-hmm.
taught, and then look at this results. And now every individual is happy that they are achieving their targets, hitting their goals, and helping the upper ladder to achieve their goals and targets as well. And that one thing led to another. COVID-19 came along. Everybody's working from home in our team department, so we don't need to go to meetings and all those sorts. So we can do it over Zoom. So I was able to save those driving time. So I literally had half a day at home now,
Mm-hmm.
where I started to now start doing much more self-development side of things,
Mm-hmm.
things that I would have loved to do, and started these. It was just me to come out and start talking to people in terms of, right, let's share our stories. What do you do? Things like that. So, and one thing led to another. So this is where I believe the plan is there, but you might not know where you're actually heading to, the destination or the goal. You are on a journey, so to say, but your mind will be like, okay, you've joined a company and you'll be thinking, okay, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to be a successful person in this company as far as I can go. And that's how I see things, right? But what will happen at the end, are you going to pivot from what you've learned? So this is me saying, I took the chance of, okay, I've got these skill sets now that I have learned from this company. Can I utilize this in something else as well, i.e.,
Mm-hmm.
my personal life, my personal take, and expand onto that? And this is where I always say, 90% planning is you've done a planning to sustain yourself to go forward on that journey. But where that journey leads you is where you need to be open to those invitations and listen out to the signals. And a lot of us don't listen to those signals because we are so distracted. We get distracted.
Well, this is what I want to
It's
point
there.
out. Yeah. So what I want to point out about what you just said when you started these Tuesday talks is what I see, what I could say is many times, this is like where I feel like I'm meant to be here on the planet, is to help, especially women, because that's who I tend to work with, is in that moment where you're like, I have time, I get this brain pop to start these Tuesday talks because I love conversing with people and it's fun for me and it's so interesting, is this is where people kind of can get stuck. They get stuck because they have this great idea, but then we either get overwhelmed with the execution. Well, how do I do it? Or like these gremlins come in, like it has to be perfect, or who am I to do this? Or I've never been on camera, or I don't want to be seen on camera. All the excuses and all the reasons that kind of like energetically you have this high vibe idea, this frequency that is high vibe. And if you allow yourself to surrender and just do it, then it happens, it manifests. And who knows what has manifested through this or what will manifest even into the future. But when we don't do it, we rob all these people of that amazing experience that you set out to do, or it takes like 2 years, 5 years to actually get executed. And at that point, you might even be over it. Or, the point is to me, is to go from that clarity of like, yeah, I got this amazing brain pop to, if I'm meant to do this, I in a sense, trust, I have to trust and also surrender to the process. So it doesn't have to be perfect. I just have to get started. I'll learn along the way. It'll get better as I go. You look at a lot of the logos of companies when they first started, they look nothing like what they look like now. Like they evolved, the branding, they all got to get better over time because they just started. Some companies started with like 5 products and now they're, multinational and they've got all sorts of stuff, but it got to evolve over time.
I agree with that 100%, and I love the way you've touched upon that as well. It's you just need to decide and then take the action of
Mm-hmm.
going ahead. I also expand on to that is when you are thinking of doing something and you're getting those grumbling or other personalities within you saying nope, you can't do this, or you don't want to be on a camera, you shouldn't be, are you sure you're good enough for this? That's when you need to take note. I recommend, if you like write down those thoughts. They
Mm-hmm.
popped up. Write
Mm-hmm.
down those thoughts and let it be there for a day or two, then go back to it. And then that amazing idea that you had, write that amazing idea down on a separate piece of paper, put them side to side and say, which will now help you move forward, and which ones are you can overcome. Start with the
Mm-hmm.
smallest thing and start taking them down one by one. That should get you on track, because as you said, a lot of people just stop for various reasons, that oh no, not good enough, I'm camera shy, this and that, and wait to launch something in 5 years time. But then it's not the same, because the energy you had, the
Yeah.
idea you had, was that moment, and that could be the signal from the universe that you need to start now.
It
This is it,
is.
here we
It,
are.
it, it definitely is. Yeah.
Exactly. So that's the
Mm-hmm.
that's the opportunity that's just knocked at your door,
Mm-hmm.
for you to start. And you're like, okay, come back later, I'm watching a movie now. It's,
Yeah.
that opportunity is gone now. It might come back later, but it won't be the same opportunity anymore.
Right. It'll be different at that point. Yeah, exactly. And I think we can let ourselves off the hook for the times that we did miss something because it's all part of the growth process. But I think, the point of this is to notice like it's coming for a reason, and we get to kind of surrender and trust to the process. let our egos get out of the way, because the ego is the one that wants to say all those reasons why we can't. And also that's where meditation comes in, because when we meditate, it helps us to get kind of more of those high vibe downloads, and it helps us to release the ego too. So just to kind of circle back to that tool as well.
I love that. I love that. Thank you. So is there a certain books that you're reading at the moment, or do you like to read quite often?
I do. Yeah. Right now, I actually, through Insight Timer, I have a book club, and we're reading Nikki Sutton's Consciousness Rising. It's a really wonderful book about spiritual awakening. It kind of walks through the process and a bunch of different exercises. We also read, I really like it, I talk about a lot in my workshops, Joe Dispenza's Becoming Supernatural. And I was going to see if I have, I'm not sure if I'm out of them. I have my own book. I have this, it's a quote book with a journal within it. It's 101 quotes to manifest. It's Manifesting Magic. It's on Amazon. It's a book that I put together just to help us to be in that high vibe, to help us manifest our best lives.
Oh, I love that. So that book you have, does that has pages where you're able to write things as well, or is this
It does. Oh, I have
just
one.
quotes?
Hang on one sec. Let me grab it.
Yeah, yeah, go for it.
I'll grab it. Okay, so yeah, it's called Manifesting Magic. It's right here. And there's a quote like, "You manifest what you believe, not what you want." Sonia Ricotti. So you could do what you want with that. And then it asks at the beginning of the day, what does this quote mean to me personally today? How will I apply this quote? Who else needs to hear this quote today? So kind of when we share it with others, it helps us to see, how that resonates. And it's applicable even outside of ourselves. And then at the end of the day, well, how did I apply this? What will I do differently going forward? There's another one like from Oprah, think like a queen. A queen is not afraid to fail. Failure is another stepping stone to greatness. That's Oprah Winfrey. So I try to just have like a nice variety of people from all walks of life, women and men, different countries. Yeah, that's.
I love it. I love it. I would 100% recommend. So if it's available on Amazon,
Mhm.
go, definitely recommend everybody to check it out. And obviously, people who are listening to this on a podcast version obviously cannot see what we just looked at. It's a nice, beautiful blue covered book there. From the quotes that I've heard, amazing. Definitely, I'll definitely check it out as well myself, because I'm a sucker for these kind of books. So I will definitely look it out and check it out. And I love that code is there now, guiding your day as well. So get that feelings going, and it's been living the day with intent that we've been talking about since beginning, right? So what is this code gonna help me with today? So there will be something that you will have a task in the day that maybe you don't want to do. That code might help you now to get up and start doing it. And who do we want to share? I am a big believer of sharing inspirations with other. Hence, this Tuesday Talk started, is to share all the inspiration which is out there all over the world with others. We should not keep it within us. And if something sparks an idea or sparks a light bulb moment, we need to share it with whoever and whomever it is. We just need to share it. And that's also mentioned in your book. So
Mm.
you're also reminding, think of a person or people that you want to share it with. So it's amazing. I would like to say thank you very much for your time, for doing this, Tuesday. So it was wonderful speaking with you today. So we will be wrapping this up. What would you like to say to people who are listening and watching before we wrap this up?
Yeah, well, thank you. I'm so glad to be here and talk with you. I just want to say, those things that you really want that spark your heart, like that's where you get to believe in yourself and find the people around you who are going to support you, because that thing that is within you that sparks you, it's there for a reason. And when it serves you and you get to bring that out into the world, it's really going to serve others too.
Wow, wonderful. Thank you very much. And thank you very much for the guys who are watching this on IG Live and interacting as well. Thank you very much. People who just joined and they're watching, I would recommend watching it on IGTV from the beginning. There are some inspirational moments throughout the episode here. and people listening to this in the podcast in the future as well. If this episode has created a light bulb moment or created some aha moments for you, it's our responsibility now to share this episode with whoever comes to your mind. If you think of someone, whoever pops up, just share it, because we do not know who's woken up or gone to bed thinking of a better day today or tomorrow. And if this has created a spark in you, it might start a spark there as well. And that's all we need is that spark to just start something. So thank you very much. And how can people connect with you, or is there something coming in the future that they can reach out to you as well?
Yeah, I have a free guide for intuition. It's a bit.ly link, bit.ly, the intuition guide. And I have an intuition immersion that I run. It's a 3-month process, and you can find me just right here. Message me through Instagram, which is Stephanie Zito, or find my website, stephaniezito.com.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Stephanie, for your time. And thank you very much, everybody else. We will see you next Tuesday again, everybody. And thank you again.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.